Hello, and welcome once again to the Sweaty Casuals podcast.
Hey,
This
Gannon,
week
no one's
we
talking.
are
Now's a
okay.
good time to start.
Okay, shut the fuck up, dickhead. We are once again not at full force. 75% strong this week, as you can
Wait,
see.
did we start?
As you can see, Zion has
I
died
wasn't
yet
ready.
again. And I wish it was 50% so that we wouldn't have to deal with Koshi's bullshit this week, as he's already pissing me off within about 3 minutes of me being here.
Wait, so have we officially started?
Yes, we officially started. We're officially
I
on
wasn't sure if you-
episode 5. We've been over a month now. We are well into this
I
shit.
didn't know if you were rehearsing or not.
I'm going to rehearse punching you in the throat.
So we started then, yes?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, go ahead.
So,
No,
no
just go
Zion
ahead
this
and
week.
start again. Just start again. Just start
My
again.
God, I'm going to shut the fuck up.
I'm ready this time.
Shut up.
I'm ready this time.
God
Just
damn
start
it. We should really get Seth in for days like this and have him just play the role of Zion. Let's see if he can put on a British accent. That would be quite funny.
I haven't seen Seth in actually like 2 or 3 weeks. Has he been okay or something going on?
I don't know. I know he's watching the podcast though. At least I assume so, because I'm pretty sure he's the only one that's pressing the like button.
No. I watched it once, and I hit the dislike button.
Okay, you're an asshole. I expected it though. Anyway, we have with us, even though Zion is dead, we have the wonderful Funky. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Fine, thank you.
I hate this already. And we have our usual asshole from America, Koshi. Say hello.
You know what? I think I'm gonna call it here. So you guys all have a good day.
I'm gonna lose my mind. You know what? Fuck it. Koshi, you said you had some shit to talk about this week. What did you have to talk about? What's your first topic of the day?
Well, just for those who don't know, and I'm pretty sure everyone already does, but this is for the fans.
Uh-huh.
Only fans? Yeah.
The latest news I've been checking up on is the latest in the Microsoft FTC case. Microsoft was able to defend, and the FTC pretty much dropped the ball, mostly because they were arguing that Microsoft was going to get, monopoly on cloud gaming, which was not true. And 2, that they were arguing, and this was the killer. They were arguing for Sony, not for the consumer. So the FTC already had their heads up their ass so far that they could see what they were eating for dinner.
Wonderful.
Pretty much at this point, the UK, I forget what the UK institution is called. I saw the abbreviation HBK or something. I don't know. They tried to stop.
No.
They had till I think it was last Friday to try to get a judge to stop the thing going through so they could put a case together, but the judge denied them, and so it's pretty much gonna happen. Now I don't know exactly what's gonna happen with the UK courts. I don't know if they're still gonna have.
Is up for they've blocked it for now, but it's not like it's not happening. It needs to be revised.
Now
Like,
wait, what
if it's
was
like
it
this-
blocked?
It's been
Because what I was reading, they had till last Friday to block it. Otherwise, the deal was going to go through on Monday.
There need to be revisions added to the deal, I believe, to be allowed in the UK.
Okay, so the last I saw was that the UK had till Friday to block it or to get a judge to put a hold on it. Because as of Monday morning when trading started, it was going to go through. And last I checked, I think yesterday, it seemed to have gone through. because Microsoft got together with Sony and agreed on a deal where for the next 10 years so far, and that could be extended, for the next 10 years, Sony will get Call of Duty, which was what Sony was looking for.
Yeah.
They'll get Call of Duty, and they will be promised. And I mean, how do you really police this? But there'll be no, inside trading or anything or inside espionage because Sony now has to give their PlayStation, 6 information to Activision. But with Microsoft owning Activision, they could easily just send some guy to walk up to Activision and say, "Hey, I see you got some, PlayStation 6 specs there. Why don't you just hand me over, a sheet or two of, those specs, you know what I'm saying?"
If they're smart, they would just be like, "Ah, fuck it, we're not making a console anymore," and just put the Game Pass on the PlayStation.
I'm pretty sure that they're going to.
That would be a crazy move, though. Holy shit.
I'm pretty sure that they're going to adhere to that because Microsoft would get slapped so fucking hard if they even attempted to look at Sony's secrets. So I feel like they would be sincere in that
Until they aren't.
gesture. Until they're not. I
Because
feel like they'll be sincere.
they have promised things before and then just went like, "Yeah, no, fuck it, we're not gonna do that after all." I don't
Yeah,
remember
but
specifically
now,
which one, but
now they have a third party, a big third party, who will take them to court. And basically, even if Microsoft could win the court case, they would still be bogged down in the court case. It would take time, money, and it's just a headache that they don't want to deal with. And
yeah.
they
and
say
they were getting too big, so they need to be careful.
and so that too. They are getting really big. They don't want to start burning bridges or start pissing people off.
Or just being forced to split.
Or that, like what happened with the original Microsoft with
Yeah.
Bill Gates. So,
Exactly.
I mean, there's that.
What do you mean?
The Microsoft Corporation.
Microsoft
before,
and Xbox are different. They're
Yeah,
not the
before
same.
when Xbox was starting, people were complaining that Microsoft had a monopoly on computers because all new computers were being shipped with Windows, not Linux, not this or that. Is there really a this or that? I'm not sure, but everything was being shipped with Windows, and Microsoft was getting so big that this was like in the mid 2000s, I think, early 2000s. I don't remember, but a court ordered.
I think
Go
it
ahead.
started early late 90s that it might happen because they are getting too big, and then when they announced they were going into consoles, I think that kind of really got the ball rolling.
I think so, because I know the original console I think hit in 2002, 2001.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Couple of years after PlayStation 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah. So they basically Microsoft was forced to split their large corporation into two. And
right, but I was under the impression that although Xbox operated kind of on its own guidance, that it was still it's basically a sub company from Microsoft. Like Microsoft still owns it, right?
It is. They do. But what this means is
like it's not
like
it's not entirely its own entity. It's just
It's
autonomous.
a sister company, kind of.
Right.
So think of it this way, and this is going to be a weird analogy, but think of a meteorite coming down towards Earth. All right.
What the fuck? Okay.
Oh, I can only wish.
All right.
Yeah.
You shoot a nuke up at it to try to destroy it, to deflect it. It blows
I think
up.
you mean you send Bruce Willis up there?
Yeah, true.
No, he's retired.
No,
so you send a nuke up there.
I'm saying that if a meteor was to come, he'd come out of retirement. All right, it's it's bigger than he is. Okay.
Okay, so you send Bruce Willis up there, right?
That's better.
Yeah,
he punches it really hard. He punches it really hard.
It's still believable.
Yeah. It explodes into multiple pieces.
He goes yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Goes yippee-ki-yay, yeah.
now you have all those multiple pieces coming down, raining across the earth. All right, because you shot Bruce Willis too late. So each piece is part of the whole of the meteorite, but each piece separately is going to have its own impact and have its own fallout. You get what I'm kind of saying?
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with like Microsoft. So Microsoft had to split their computer division, their console or gaming in general division, and I think there was something else they had to split too.
I
That
think
wasn't. Go ahead.
if
If
I'm
you
if
know,
I'm if I'm remembering right, Microsoft itself is for the most part just the software, and quote unquote Xbox slash the other Microsoft is mostly the hardware,
I think you're right.
with some exceptions here and there.
I think you're right. I think you're onto something there. So essentially, what I'm getting at is each one is held accountable for their own action, but at the same time, you can put them
Yeah.
all together to make up the whole.
Yeah, like if you're suing Xbox, the Microsoft that is Xbox, you're not suing Windows Microsoft.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Which actually, if you think about it, was even worse because now instead of creating one enemy, if
Yeah.
you're like, if you're trying to stop a monopoly and you're a judge or something, and like you see Microsoft as the enemy, you don't have just one enemy, but you have multiple enemies on multiple fronts. Really, all it did was was kind of do a favor for Microsoft, because now Microsoft say, oh well, the Xbox division, yeah, they're doing their thing. They want to buy Activision. That doesn't bother us. But at the same time, at the end of the day,
They still got access to those resources at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like,
Yeah.
like it basically cloned them.
I consider it like a half split. Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
they've been quote unquote split, but technically they're still sharing the same bed.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. So all right, fair enough. I didn't know that, so that's news to me. Good to know though. I was
You know
still
what?
under.
I'm gonna call this segment news to me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was still under the impression that that they were basically all one company, and that the Xbox division was just as I say, a division of the company,
Right.
dealing with it dealing with it shit, but still part of Microsoft as a
It's
whole.
not Activision Blizzard where Blizzard is its own thing. It's but it's all run by ABK. But
Yeah.
it's actually just like
Yeah, they're
Blizzard is its
separate
own thing. Activision is its own thing. King is its own thing,
yeah.
and they coexist together, but they
Yeah.
don't have a ruling over, unlike the actual Activision Blizzard King.
Yeah,
Many factions.
Because if you were to
one team.
if you were to go after and try and sue Blizzard, you'd be suing ABK.
Activision Blizzard King.
Yeah, you'd be suing the massive fucking conglomerate of it.
Yeah, it's basically like an iceberg. You got the like 10% at the water at the surface, and then you got like 90% below the surface.
He fucking loves these analogies, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, I find it easiest way to explain shit like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you got all these different factions, but you got one emperor, one god emperor.
Yeah, like one stick in the pants equals two in the bush.
Okay,
Things like that.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Let's all right.
In fact,
Continue.
that's the title of this podcast.
God damn it! Continue, Koshi, with the whatever you were trying to say.
This is a small one, so I'm just gonna get this one out of the way now. I don't know if you guys are aware of the ongoings of the strikes in America
Somewhat.
with the writers and the actors.
Somewhat.
Yeah, I know somewhat.
Two separate companies, two separate entities, if you will.
Unions.
Good news is that the actors have allowed movie productions to go forward if they meet certain guidelines. So that way actors can still continue working. The guidelines are, and this is not official because I don't know the list, but essentially, if it's an indie production, they allowed 2 A24 movies to continue going, and the A24 movies, as an example, amongst other indie companies, are doing they sit down at the table and say, okay, this is what you want, this is what we can give you, this is like a one-time deal. Will you help us make this movie? And the
Like
actors will
keeping the
say
independent and the small studios still
exactly.
able to keep
So
their job.
exactly. So they are allowing movies to still be made, but the main Hollywood productions like Paramount and Universal and all them, they're pretty much off the slate. So right now, like a lot of the winners are going to be like the small companies, like A24, has been putting out banger after banger after banger, and
Yeah,
even their
they've been doing good.
non-bangers are bangers.
They've
Uh,
been doing pretty good.
they have been, and so basically that's what it is. They sit down with the actor and they say, and with the representative of the company,
Yeah,
the SAG studio,
yeah.
not studio, Screen Actors Guild, and they say, okay, we want to make this movie. We want you to be our actor in the movie. This is what you're asking for. This is what we can give you. Can we work out a certain one-time deal for just this movie?
Next year
And
is
then
the big one.
exactly, and then boom, it's done.
Yeah, but
Uh, Go ahead. That's pretty
because I
much what it is.
believe,
But
yeah, because I believe the contracts for at least with the visual effects studios that they have a union as well. Those are up next year, and they'll more than likely go on strike as well. And that's the Writers Guild, very important because they're asking for the most part, good stuff. The actors ones, I haven't looked into it yet, so I don't really know what they're
same,
demanding.
same.
Uh, but the visual effects are also going to be like, hey, you know what? We don't want to work 5 months on a visual effects thing that you then decide to change a month before the movie's supposed to come out, and you're not paying us for that. So fuck off. And they're probably gonna demand royalties to a certain extent. I think if it's like if there's X amount of if it's over X amount of special effects in your movie, like that those studios get a percentage of the profits, which also makes sense. But that's I think the writers and special effects are gonna be the big deciding ones. And I hope they get what they want because they deserve it.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'm certainly not. I mean, I'm certainly not shocked to suddenly find out that everybody's
yeah,
striking. It's like, yeah,
yeah.
I
And
big,
Disney
big,
is
big Hollywood companies are being bastards. Wow, who's surprised there?
yeah. And
So,
Disney's having a yard sale as well because they're doing so bad to a certain extent. Not,
the
I think a
main
lot of the
the main
go ahead.
thing that that I know about all this shit going on is was the Ron Perlman video that he sent
Oh
out.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
was he's the Giga Chad of this whole thing.
yeah, yeah.
It's-
But I think
it-
at least for the writer ones, there's kind of like you have the people that are kind of they're always anti-union and they take out like the crazy ideas and it's like look what they're asking for, this is insane, and it's like yeah, but there's okay, you're picking out one where you're like they're probably not gonna get that, and it's kind of up there so they can it's like everything you do with a deal, you go crazy high and then it's like all right, oh, I want $100 for this. I don't really want $100, but if I say $100 and they give me 80, I'm still making a nice profit. You're doing it kind of like that. And that's but they're doing that with the Writers Guild where it's like, oh my god, they want at least 12, a guaranteed 12 writers for every show and everything. It's like that's not really the deal, but it is to a certain extent depending on the budget and everything like that. They want to have a guaranteed amount of workers and all of that, but then it's like, see, they just even if you have like a one-man run show, they want to have 10 writers that won't be doing anything. It's like, no, that's not what they're asking, you stupid fucks. Pay attention. And not having AI do the work for you, that is the important one, really.
I
Apart from
agree.
royalties. Apart from royalties, of course, the royalties is the main one.
I
Because
agree.
I think I said it last week, but or I don't know if but the writer for the Multiverse of Madness got 3 weeks to make the movie wasn't happy with it. And then it got it was like, oh, we're gonna shoot it earlier, so you only have 2 weeks to write an entire multi-versal script. Wasn't happy with it, and weren't happy with it, and still had to literally remake the script while they were already shooting. And then you expect a quality movie, and then they're shocked that they got a bunch of shit. So yeah, give them the time to actually do proper writing. You.
Hold on, see if I can. Keep going. I'm gonna see if I can actually play this through the thing. The Ron Perlman thing, yeah. It is awesome. Listen to me, motherfucker. What a way to start it.
He goes off the rails every now and then. It's always fun to see. I think he threatened Trump as well, and that was kind of hilarious. Okay, you're a bit crazy, but entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah, but he's crazy in such a good way, though. Like he's clearly got his heart in the right place.
Yeah, it's just sometimes he just he goes to 11 when he
Why is it not fucking playing?
How dare you? Can't you just show it here with a?
I'm trying to get the audio to come through.
Share screen. Just share
dick.
screen, and we can hear it that way.
No.
Okay. Too much porn tabs open. Gotcha.
Broadcast. This might work. Yeah, that's working. There we go. You guys can't hear it, but
Well, that's wonderful.
what do you want me to do? I can't fucking play it through my mic, can I?
The motherfucker.
So we're gonna sit here and listen to you listen to something that only you can hear.
Well, nobody's listening to anything because you just
people.
fucking talked all over it, you dickhead.
Talked over what? We didn't hear anything.
All right, I don't care. Shut up. Or not. Just keep talking. I'm not playing it anymore. Go fuck yourself.
You tried.
I would if I could.
But yeah, it was awesome. He's basically threatening the CEO to burn down his house, essentially.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, war never changes.
All right, so my next and probably biggest announcement isn't really an announcement, but it's more to...
You're quitting the show.
All right, there's no announcement. Funky said it. Later, everyone. Bye. No, it's got me thinking.
Well, that must hurt.
And I'm wondering just how well this could be utilized, or how bad this could be utilized in video gaming. Now, I don't have concrete proof on this yet. I'm still looking. And by that, I mean I haven't looked at all, but I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
The Sims rival, Life by You, will be coming to early access in September, I think. And I watched a 30-minute video by one of the head developers, Rod, where he did basically a day in the life of the sim that you play, from morning till once you went to bed at night. And I saw something interesting in it. So they have something where you have the normal chat bubbles, like you see in any game, where you approach an NPC and you start a dialogue. You get options to pick. They respond by whatever option you picked. But they also have something called dynamic conversation, where, for instance, one of the options could be, say you're sitting. I'll just give you a setting. You're sitting in a coffee shop. You're sitting next to somebody, sipping coffee, and you want to know if they want any more cream, all right, for their coffee. So one of the options is, would you like, can I get you some more cream for your coffee? What you can do is you can erase that, and you can type in your own question and or response
Would you like some
/
cum?
statement. You could say that.
Do you want some cum in your coffee?
And then the NPC will respond
By whipping
to
out
what
their
it
dick.
is that. Will you shut the fuck up? The NPC will respond to what it is you said and or asked. So if you said, "Hey," instead of asking like, "Would you like some more cream with your coffee?" You erase that. You erase that question and you type in your own. You want to get the hell out of here instead and just go to the beach. And if the sim feels like it or is interested, has an interest in the beach and water and the sun, they may respond and say, "Yeah, you know what? Let's go to the beach. Let's ditch our coffees and go to the beach." Now, that is a very interesting exchange if you think about it, because you're basically, in your own words, dictating how the game goes. This could lead to a situation where chat bubbles or options that you pick, like, do you want to pick option 1 where you want to be happy, pick option 2 where you're mean, pick option 3 where you're indifferent, like say BioWare games, for example, or any kind of RPG that's out there. You can actually dictate and take the entire game in a different direction because you're using your own words and your own ideas versus what the game is giving you. Now, I've seen people using AI in their games lately because of, Chat GT or Chat GPT, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
Chat
but like I said,
GT is
I have
the
not
speed version.
confirmed this, but I think for the dynamic conversations or dynamic talking, I think Life by You is using Chat AI or a version of in their game. So essentially what happens is you approach an AI instead of using the normal bubbles that it gives you, and it does give you options if you don't know what to say. But if you decide to take it in a different direction and write your own question, the AI will look at the character you're talking to, look at their interests, look at their dislikes, look at what makes them them, and then it'll apply that to the question you're asking, and it can take the game in a completely different direction. Now, as a quick example, and I'm going to pose this question to everybody, and by everybody I mean you two. I was watching Moon Moon,
Oh no.
Twitch streamer, do stream a game where he was trying to solve. He was a investigator with some Vaudeville police department, and the whole game was basically him talking to his suspects, talking to his partner, talking to his chief of police, and it's all run by AI. And he sat there and for maybe like 20 minutes just completely screwing with the chief of police, for the lulz, if you will, the LOLs, and everything that he came up with. And he was coming up with some really weird shit, like, you do the emote action, asterisk, pulls gun out, asterisk, and the fucking the police chief, he responds. He says, "Hey, why are you pulling your gun out? Is there something going on?" And then he responds, asterisk, points gun at police chief, asterisk, and now the police chief, the
Definitely a
AI
Moon
is
Moon
like,
stream.
yeah, exactly. And now the AI is like, "Hey, why are you pointing the gun at me? Please lower your weapon." And then he goes on. He's reacting to everything that Moon Moon is doing within reason. Like, he can't just start, getting vulgar. Like, I'm not gonna go there because. But I mean, I'm sure there's limits to what the AI can do. But
It's
the
in a
fact is that
nutshell.
he was able to come up with shit off the top of his head, and the AI was able to recognize that and run with it. Really had me thinking, and this is all coming down to this question that I'm going to pose to you guys. What do you think of going from a static conversation like, again, BioWare, for example, where you have a question posed to you and you have 4 or 5 different already thought out answers that you can choose, and each of those will take you in a different direction, versus using an AI where it's almost unlimitless. Now, real quick, before anyone begins
What was
talking,
when was this? When did he do it?
Yesterday.
Yeah. I think I found the VOD for it. Because he doesn't have VODs on his Twitch channel, so you have to look on YouTube for them.
Oh, okay.
I might watch that later though, because that sounds funny. I normally watch you Moon, but I didn't watch him last night.
Real quick before you guys answer, and I'll rephrase the question to a more direct question for everyone at home to understand. What do you guys think about? Because I say within reason, or I say unlimited possibilities, but it's not really unlimited. You have to work within the confines of the game.
Yeah.
There is a wall that you cannot cross over. But within the confines of the game, what do you guys think about using AI or AI-like technologies to make a more realistic conversation between you and an NPC versus static options that you can pick from a list?
I think if you do it per character, so you like specifically teach a AI to act as a certain character and have those parameters, kind of like, I guess for lack of a better, like I do with whenever I'm making a tabletop character, I have certain rules that it like if this happens, no matter fucking what, he or she or it, whatever I'm playing, will do this. If this, they have a general character things, but there's certain lines they won't cross, or if something happens, they are willing to die for said cause. So if you do it like that, I'm fine with it. The big one, which is why Valve is against it, is the ones where they're just scraping the entire internet kind of thingy and using everything versus just like, no, this is, and they're more on the art part. But it's like, yeah, it's fun to use AI drawn art if it's from your own artist with your own, and you have the rights to it. But I think if you're gonna just use ChatGPT and all of that shit, then no. But if you make specific AI with guidelines to specific characters, then I think you're fine as long as it's contained within that and you have the rights to everything, and writers actually kind of wrote the baseline for it. Then I'm fine with it. That's probably what's gonna end up happening anyway. So that's my opinion.
I think the act of using AI to create character is fine in certain types of games, but I wouldn't want it to become an industry standard. I feel like if you've got like a kind of a sandboxy game that runs kind of like an RPG and you're talking to NPC, like a lot of NPCs, and it fits into the world that they would be dynamic, and it would help it in feeling more alive as a sandboxy open world kind of thing. Then yeah, I'm on board with that. I think that you could definitely do something creative in there, but for a story heavy game with a focus on the characters, I think you should still be going with fully written out and fully voiced characters, because I feel like you can AI, as good as AI is getting, I don't think it's ever going to replace good writing from like an actual person and good voice acting.
It lacks feeling because it doesn't
understand. Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like it would detract from a story game if you're hearing an AI basically respond to what you're saying. Like I would prefer watching a cutscene that's been crafted well even if I don't get the option to say anything in it. Or if I do, then the options are still well crafted that fits within whatever story they're trying to say, rather than everything being AI and freeform and whatever. Because I feel like eventually that it would lose its gimmick a bit. But if you keep it to a very specific set genre and set type of game, that it can definitely find its niche. And I could definitely see the fun in playing a game like that. But I wouldn't want it to become industry standard. Like I say, I wouldn't want it to be in everything that has any NPC. You just no.
Yeah.
I feel like you would
Like the
definitely
way,
like Funky says, you would definitely lose the feeling of it.
I think the way, and they got a lot of shit for it, but the way Ubisoft kind of wants their writing
Yeah.
AI to be, that's kind of
Yeah.
where you need to go. So you still, if you're doing it like for, I think their main thing is like doing the stupid fetch quest stuff, and like just the meaningless quests, writing dialogue for that is super boring and everything like that. So they're just like, yeah,
But do you know how to solve that?
we're gonna have the big, don't do it, but
Exactly. Just
it's
don't
still
fucking have
something.
the shitty quests.
Yeah.
Like that's the easy fucking
But
option
it's
for
still, but it's still something. There's still gonna be boring parts about writing anyway, whether you like it or not. Even in the with the big characters and everything like
Yeah,
that.
but it's still
There's
like it's like Ubisoft's idea was like, oh well, we've got all these quests that we need to put in that are just kind of pointless, meaningless filler. Let's make an AI do it to make it easier and save money and blah blah blah. And it's just I sit there thinking, you've grown a weed and now you're applying, like it's like you're putting insect protection against it so that it doesn't die. But it's like everybody's sitting there thinking, just don't fucking grow the weed. Like nobody wants this. Like just take the quests out. We don't care about them. Just focus on the quests that actually matter. Like I get like this whole idea. Ubisoft is one of the biggest offenders for this. Is that you do not have to have a quest every fucking 5 minutes of your game time. It is fine that you cut a lot of that crap out. I do not need to be doing busy work in my game 24/7. I don't mind a little bit of it here and there, like with a decent reward at the end of it. But like, if it's just there just to create filler content and to keep your play times like extended out than past the main story, it's like fuck off. I can't be bothered with it. Just let me focus on the quests that you've actually spent a lot of time on and you've crafted out well, and that they have all of they actually mean something to what the story you're trying to tell me.
Yeah, I see it more as in they're obviously not gonna do that. They're gonna do the boring Assassin's Creed stuff, the side stuff, not the main stuff, but kind of story stuff where it was like, but I think it could help. Let's say you have a good life service game, and you're like, oh yeah, we could have our writers spend an entire week writing up dailies that then rotate, or we could take what we've learned from this character, put it through the AI and have it come up with daily quests. Like, oh, you have X amount of dailies. All right, here, and and they kind of just come up with daily quests on the go, and it keeps it kind of fresh. Sure, there's still gonna be some overlap with it and everything like that, but at least you're not wasting the writer's time coming up with that boring shit that is just on repeat and they can focus on the main story beats instead of having to do that monotonous boring shit. So I think for that it could be useful, but there's a lot of ways it could not be useful or be abused, because the main thing against it was from the reasonable people that actually were like, okay, this is what it is, and the writers actually asked for it. The main thing is, okay, so you have your writers, it's going to be based off of the writers of said game or within the studio. Well, what happens if the writer leaves? Does all of that data get deleted, or that they wrote? Because technically they own the rights, quote unquote, own the rights to that.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Well, no, but I mean, it's there. It's like taking I mean it more as in like, um, everything that Stephen King did, and then going like, oh well, you're gone. You're no longer with our publishing anymore. But people still like Stephen King books, so we're just gonna have an AI write Stephen King books. Kind of preventing that. So it's if Stephen King were to leave said publishing, that they have to delete all of his work, and or at least a guarantee that it's not being used in AI. Kind of that way in
Yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from.
yeah.
I'm not trying to shit on you, Funky. I'm not really not. But I don't get where you're coming from because everything you said was 100% wrong.
I do, but he was explaining
I'm
it
not
wrong.
wording it well. Yeah.
The more
I suspect that's what it is.
the more I
but
was thinking about it, I was like, yeah, I actually do get where that point is. Basically, it's like you're at a company
Let's
and
say
you're writing.
the guy,
So let's say you're writing for the company. Yes, you don't own what you've written, but once you leave that company,
your style.
yeah, your thought process and style and how you go about things, like that is unique to you. And if you left the company, the company doesn't have then basically trains an AI to replace you and keeps writing as if it was you, which is
Yeah.
kind of a bit weird and morally questionable. Because then at that point, yes, as a company, you're thinking, well, I don't need to waste money on this employee. I've already got what they can do, and the AI is doing it for them,
Yeah, let's say
or at
even
least
better
near
one.
enough, or like near
Let's
enough to
say
do the stuff that people probably won't notice.
let's say Neil Druckmann, all of the writing they have from Naughty Dog from him, and they start using AI for it, and he decides to leave. But
Mhm.
then they're like, well, we still have all of his work, so we'll just put that through AI and kind of keep his flair going with our games through AI. That should be illegal because he has left, and you can't use his writing style, even though he isn't there anymore. It's
Yeah.
once you're gone, previous past, that's it.
Yeah, once you leave a
Again,
company,
Finito.
it should be that once you leave a company, you also take all of your talent away with you. That is part of you. That is kind
Yeah.
of what you're selling to the
The AI
company.
can be used against you writing wise.
Yeah, like if you go to another company, you're bringing to the table
Your talent.
your talent, and then while you're there, you're being paid for that talent. But then once you leave, they can't pay you for that talent anymore. They don't. So they shouldn't
again,
have access to that talent anymore because they are no longer employing you. But with an AI, they can replace that, like your talent, and just have the AI do what you did and not have to pay you for it.
that's 100% completely wrong. I don't know
How
what
is
the
that
fuck
wrong?
you guys are smoking.
How is
Okay,
that wrong?
because so here's the problem. You guys keep speaking of these generic terms, talent and writing styles, and well, let me give you guys. Let me put this in a different perspective and see if you guys can get where I'm coming from. I can mimic, all right? I can sit there and read every Stephen King book and I can mimic everything he says, the way he types, the way he explains things, the way he basically paints the picture for you in the paragraph that you're reading at that time, all right? But all that talent in the world is worthless if I can't come up with the same ideas or better ideas
Yeah, you'd need
than what
his
he did
mind.
in the past. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
AI cannot do that. So if Neil Druckmann were to leave and you got an AI to start writing for him, uh, that's worthless because all they're doing is mimicking the work he's already done in the past.
Yeah, you'd
What you're
you'd lose
looking
out
for,
the creative
exactly,
insight.
what you're
Yeah,
looking for is that the creativity, the
yeah, you've
new
got a point.
ideas
That's
that
a
are
good
coming
point. Yeah, yeah,
forth.
I get it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So
but you still certain people still have a writing flair where you can
yeah, they
clearly
do.
tell.
It's
But
true.
I mean,
Yeah,
Just
there are, and just like in any entertainment business, actors, musicians, writers, whatever. For every one good actor out there that's working, there is 10 better ones that are not working.
yes,
So when you're looking at just like say just America as a whole, all right, where you got what is it, 300 million people living here in America, I think was the last. Doesn't matter.
too
300
many.
million people living here. We'll say 50 million of them or excuse me, are in some sort of entertainment business. All right. And you've got out of those 50 million, you've got 5 million that are working. So you've got another 45 million that are better in every shape, way, and form than the ones that are working who are not working, who can do all that stuff, who can come up with better ideas, can come up with better writing, can mimic that writing and then some. And that's just America. When you look at the whole world, every
Yeah,
single country, that shit adds up real fast.
yeah,
Now, I
but
do agree with Funky in one point. Yeah, it's kind of a shit move using AI to replace somebody, but at some point, to an extent, you get to a well, it sounds redundant, but you get to a point where no new ideas are coming out. You
Yeah.
need those Neil Druckmanns to fuel the AI.
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah, yes, but that is exactly why for the and this is more in general, this isn't specifically video games. That's why, yeah, you're right. For every amazing insert artistry thing here that there is, or just even great at whatever job, there's always somebody better than you. Except they haven't found, in said case, they haven't found anybody better yet. Because if they did find somebody better yet, they would be getting paid the big bucks as well to do the same one. So the reason why a Neil Druckmann and so on is so highly regarded, and I'm not taking into account his personality, because that's an entirely different thing. But he is a much respected writer within the video games industry. The reason why he is so respected is because he is taken and showing his talent and everything, and it's a full package. The creativity is definitely there, but you're just saying, well, there's somebody better out there. Yes, there is, but they haven't gotten to the point of Neil Druckmann yet. And
That's
yeah, you
true.
might say, "Yeah, well, give them a chance." Well, if they're one of the 45 million that you said that aren't really working, they're not really gonna get that chance, because it's not just being good at it. It's also a bit of luck, and being at the right time and the right location and everything like that. Because
That is
there's
true. That's true.
so
100%.
there's a
There's a
reason
reason why
why
they're not working.
Kojima is also highly regarded. You know, so
Because
this
he's
is
batshit
going
crazy.
that as well, but this is kind of going away from the AI part a bit. But it's more. There's definitely talented people out there that aren't doing what they're doing, and that are better than Kojima and everything like that. But they're not the top dogs right now, so that's why the top dogs are getting the top bills. And you know, and you
Right.
don't want to, have somebody go, well, we had Konami going, well, we had access to Kojima for I don't know how long he was there. Let's say 20 years. Let's take everything you had and make another Metal Gear Solid, and then we'll hire other talented staff that could come up with some crazy ideas, and we'll just have them come up with the idea and then put it through an AI to kind of come up with the script as if it was a Kojima script. That's
Yeah.
what you're trying to avoid.
Well, basically, we're both got like what we're all saying is correct, and there is definitely an element of this being fully abused, and I
Yeah.
expect companies to abuse it at some point. They definitely will in some way,
Oh, yeah.
whether it's how we've said it
They
or another
already
way.
are.
Yeah, like
Just not the gaming ones yet.
so.
As far as
I
we
feel
know.
like I can see the positives, but I can also see the negatives. There's definitely both
Yeah.
sides of this.
There just needs to
But
be clear rules. That's it, and there aren't
but
at
I,
the moment.
but I will say like I'm not against AI as a tool. I think like the future that we like a good
Yeah,
future for us is that AI
that's
is restricted in a way that it serves
that's what it needs to be, a
as
tool.
it's an assistant to us,
Just
Yeah.
like
not
Ganon.
Yeah,
fuck's sake.
it's like it
It's an
should be like
assistant.
Grammarly. It's pretty much it should be like Grammarly. It helps you out, but it doesn't. But you still got to do the actual work.
Yeah, like like, it just speeds up the process of things we're already doing. That's what AI should be used for.
Yeah,
But obviously everybody's kind of it's new, and it's exciting, and everybody's doing it the stupid way at the moment until we figure it out. I guess that's what I'm hoping. At least is that we'll kind of rein it in a bit and stop like before it gets way out of control and
Just
too late.
in because AI is going so fast. It's in
Yeah.
and laws are always very slow. It's in mostly privacy wise at the moment because with all the ChatGPT and all of that stuff and the Facebook and all of that bullshit where it's like, yeah, no, we'll just scrape everything you ever done online that we can find off of you. That stuff needs to be there. Needs to be the privacy laws, especially the Europeans, because they're the ones we already got good laws in place before the with the privacy stuff. They just need to be updated even more. Where you're like, no, you're not allowed to. I can opt out of being searched by AI, and you know that's the stuff that needs to happen. So it kind of
it sucks though because it's
reined in.
all that will do though. Like if I think about it just for a second, it's like if that does happen, all that will do is force companies to spend money
They've
on
already got the rules.
like they'll just find somebody to do it illegally for them and then pay them under the table to get that information from them.
Not even that. It's literally already in, I think, Facebook's user agreement where everybody just clicks OK, and it's literally like, oh, by clicking agree, you also agree that we can scrape everything off of your messages.
Yeah, but that stuff doesn't supersede like European law and things like that. I'm pretty sure.
That's the tricky part. I'm not sure, but
if from what I remember, they've got different TOS agreements where depending on your location, because laws and things like that prevent them from putting.
I think it's not so
TOS.
much the private, but I think it's the public one that they're allowed to. So if you put it on your Facebook or your Instagram and it's public to all, they can kind of use it.
Yeah, they skirt around it and steal
it
that way.
Yeah. That's why I mean it needs clearer rules, more defined rules. Because
there are laws against that.
The basic form of but it's more against people. It's not AI. That's the problem. It kind of needs to be.
The wording
more
needs to be very precise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they will find a way around it.
Well, no, because there are laws already in place to protect you from that. You can't put anything you want in a TOS or a clause. Like there's, I can't think of the name of it, but pretty much any country that has a judge has some form of it where if things are too ridiculous or are too, because they understand that not everyone's going to sit there and read a 50 paragraph, clause or TOS before they hit OK. So there's going to be some sort of, crossover between AI and human where basically they're saying, okay, well, if you do this on our platform, we can do this.
Yeah, there was basically
they're basically
years and years
what
ago,
you're waiting for is somebody to come along and say, no, that is not right. I know I clicked OK, but there was no way for me to understand or even find that information in your TOS.
Years and years ago, there was basically this argument went on, and I don't know if it was like in a court case or it was just like something that someone brought up, but it was basically like it was the example was the Apple TOS and something to do with iTunes or something, and they're basically just saying you can't put anything you want into your TOS. It's like if you were to read through, if you were to click OK to Apple's TOS, and then in the middle of that 50 pages of crap, it said, oh, and we now have the right to bust into your home at night at anytime we want and just steal money out of your wallet. But you clicked OK, so therefore it's okay. Reason. Yeah, like you can't put that into TOS because it's not anywhere relevant to like what the product is of why you're needing this TOS in the first place. It has to be relevant to the thing you're trying to sell or whatever or access.
AI wise, it's more against use of others. Like if you're on Facebook and Facebook AI uses you, that's one thing. It's more you're on Facebook, but you have your Twitter account linked, and Facebook now also uses your Twitter link to scrape everything from that and everything like that, where it kind of becomes like that's the gray area where it kind of just needs to be like put into stone regulation wise, like this is the extent to where you can do it and no further. That's the main thing that needs to happen at the moment. Just clear like this yes, this no. Obviously not every it's hard to put that in black and white, but you know, it's the law. You can adjust it somewhat, but there just needs to be up minor, at least for Europe, minor updates to the privacy rules to include certain restrictions on AI. I don't know about America's one because I don't really know the privacy laws there too well, so I can't speak to that one. But at least for Europe, there needs to be some tweaks rather than like rewriting the whole thing.
I think it's
Just to
I think Italy has already begun. They're basically making laws on towards AI. They're the first ones
yeah,
that kind of
listen,
jumped
I
onto
think
it.
Don't
I
get me
think
started on Italy. They've already got fucked up shit going on over there
oh yeah, but
with
that's
their
been
laws.
like that's literally been a thing. Well, not AI, of course,
I'm
but
not talking about the shit
it,
they've done in the past. I'm talking about the new stuff. Have you heard about the 10-second groping law?
Yeah, I read that. It was weird as fuck. Really strange stuff.
yeah, I mean that's why I say it's Italy.
I mean, that's why I'm
They
moving
had to-
there. But
I'm not gonna like pretend that someone made that like sat down and thought about that in a nefarious way, but clearly it wasn't well thought out.
yeah,
Like their intentions was probably like in a good place, but clearly that's just not the way to go about it.
yeah,
Because
that's
it's really
they
strange.
needed to draw a line, and I think they drew the line too far
Yeah. Like 'cause
away.
my assumption is that it's like it was a way to create a law around it, but also not like also to avoid like people who are innocent in this sense. Like it's like
yeah.
you're thinking, oh well, if you're just brushing up against someone by accident and it just happens to linger a bit too long and you didn't actually mean it, it's like, well, they probably just sat there and thought, 10 seconds. You go over 10 seconds, it's kind of you should have realized by
Yeah,
that
then it
point.
becomes creepy. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like you should have probably realized that you've touching someone at that point. That's no longer
Yeah,
an
but
accident.
something that could happen. Like somebody's following your, for usually it's with women. A woman falls and you're trying to grab her, but while just trying to be quick, you're not paying attention, and you have your hand on her breast by accident. That technically,
Accident.
yeah,
For normal
you
people,
could be
Koshi,
like,
not you.
yeah, it could be like, oh, you groped her when it's just, no, I tried to stop her from fucking falling on the ground,
Yeah.
but it's if you're in a crazy country where you can get sued for everything, like it is like, yeah, technically you have a case, so they're kind of going against that, but
That was my that's
same within
when I
within
was reading it,
reason,
that's
but
what
it's
my
like,
assumption was.
it's like, yeah.
They were trying to protect people who were like genuinely innocent, and rather than like create a super overbearing law that would start and cause loads of issues for people. Because there is definitely people who would abuse that law if it was like,
Yeah.
Like 1
Well,
second of
technically, I
touching.
can go up through here. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm suing you now. It's like, fucking,
Yeah.
okay, what the fuck?
Yeah. There's
like,
a bunch of laws of that.
But like out of context, that law does seem like really weird.
And it's one of those things where you start with that and you kind of adjust it while it's in law to kind of maybe reword it a little bit here, reword it a little bit there. As per usual. Usually when a big new law comes out, it's usually like, yeah, this is the first interpretation, and we're gonna kind of see how it goes. And
maybe the whole thought was like, hey, well, if you drop food on the floor, people say there's a 10-second rule, right? Well, if you touch someone's boob with your hand, it's a 10-second rule, right? It's the same concept. See, they've got the logically figured it out.
I mean, there's also the other way where it's like still ancient laws that can be that are technically still in effect, but nobody's like in France, it's still illegal to call your pig Napoleon or Bonaparte. That's
but everyone's got those crazy ass laws.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I feel like
this is one of the.
I feel like those laws, because they're not enforced, they're basically left in there. Not because like, oh well, we can't be bothered to change it. It's more like it's funny and it's kind of tradition. Like it's like
It's
a
the
part of the
same
country's
way.
history. So you're just like, we'll leave it in for
I
a
think
giggle.
wasn't there a state last year or maybe even early this year, but I think it's late last year. A state in America that then officially got rid of slavery, but it was one of those things. Well, technically, in
They're a
this
bit late,
like
aren't they?
rule from like 18 insert number here, it's still legal. But everything like constitution wise on the federal level made it legal. But technically, it was one of those rules. It's like technically it's not outlawed, but the federal government would sue you so quick you wouldn't
Yeah,
even get
they'd certainly
started.
take
So
an issue with
yeah,
it.
yeah, it trumps the other one, but it's kind
We
of
don't
like
say
yeah,
that word here.
we finally got rid of it. One of those rules where it's like, yeah, I mean, nobody's
You just walk into
nobody's
someone's
taking it
house.
serious.
You walk into someone's house, they've got a fucking slave. You're like, whoa, what's going on here? Well, we didn't get the memo.
Yeah. It's one of those. We had the same problem here where when we first tried to push gay marriage through in I think 2004, because our constitution did actually say um, man and woman, but for the most part, everybody's like, yeah, I mean, come on, who's gonna take that seriously? And then
I mean, come on.
so we pushed the rule through, and it became law. But then I think some Christians started
Oh, what a surprise.
suing, and it's like, well, and then the judge went over, and it's like, yes, they are correct. Within our constitution, it is man and woman, and for us, then the entire government just went like, all right, well, fuck it, let's change the constitution, and we changed the constitution. All right, well, fuck it. All right, now it no longer is, and everything just went through. So it's kind of like one of those rules where, yeah, this is an ancient thing that is in there, but
Mhm.
nobody's really paying attention to it anymore. Well, apart, and then you have some idiots trying to ruin it, and it's like, yeah, okay, fine, fuck it, we'll change it finally, and just be done with it before they do something crazy. That was the same thing with the slavery one, where it's like, yeah, no, let's just finally get rid of this before the crazies get into power and
before it
maybe
causes a
try
bit
to
of
push
problem.
something. Yeah, yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway,
Koshi?
so yeah, go on, yeah, Koshi.
That's all I got for the moment.
I thought you had like
So
several things to talk about. That's like two.
I did. I just mentioned like 3 of them.
You mentioned two things.
Huh?
You mentioned two things?
Did I?
I don't know.
No.
You talk
Three
about
things?
one thing
It
for like
did
a half hour,
three.
so I end up forgetting where the
No,
fuck
no,
things are going.
he did three things.
Talk about one thing for a half hour. Can you exaggerate a bit more? I've barely been
could.
talking this whole time.
I 100% could if you would like me to.
Anyway, so I have some. Well, it's not really news, but so
Okay.
the game jam happened.
Yeah.
I'm assuming everybody knows what that is.
I do.
Well, I know what a game jam is, but like there's 1,000 of them a year.
Yeah, no, but there's
Are you
the
talking about
big
the one
game
that
jam.
you linked?
Yeah, yeah, the one that I posted. So
In media.
that's
Yeah.
the big one every year. This one had to again the biggest entry. So there was the most games. So about 23,000 devs
Damn.
made games in 48 hours, and they ended up with how much 6,839 games from them.
I'm sure
Sheesh.
it's all high quality.
There's some there's you say that, but there's genuinely
Yeah, there will be some of them. Though, definitely.
big indie games that got based off of games like that and made it big. Deathloop, Celeste, technically Vampire Survivor kind of started as not a
You don't need to
public
list
game
every
jam.
single one. I know.
Yeah.
Killer Frequency was one of those. I
Yeah.
played the game jam from
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah, so basically, it's like
yeah.
this stuff ends up. It's like a proof of concept
Yeah,
for the most
yeah.
part, and then people go on to make them into
But-
like
Yeah,
full-fledged games.
But they had a theme.
Of the 23,000 that are brought on,
Oh yeah,
only
very
like
small
2 of them
fraction.
actually.
Yeah, like a fraction of them would be actually.
So let's
good.
not
Oh, yeah,
pretend
yeah.
that this is fucking game changing because it's not.
No, but it's
No.
fun. You know, it's fun to see because
It's
they
not
have.
fun. I hate it.
Yeah, well, you hate fun anyway, so fuck off. Uh, but it was a fun team because it's roles reversed, which is which was so you're not playing the hero. You're either you're playing the not necessarily the villain, but there's one. So one for example is shit, what was it called Princess Paladin, where you have the princess and you're her lackey, and so the princess is running around killing stuff, and you have to go find new weapons for her, find her potions while also avoiding the enemies. And if she needs help, it's like, oh well, shit, here's a healing potion and everything like that. So kind of a
It's a
fun
neat idea.
play on that one. Sneakerdoodle was a one I played, which is a fun one. You're playing a dog, and it's a reversed stealth game. So you actually want to be caught because the dog wants to play, and you gotta find through the map. You gotta find the best way to go through it because you want to have them chasing you and have fun that way, but you don't want to get caught. So it's
That's
kind of
clever.
like a reverse that one that was really fun. There's uh versus Snake was actually really good. That's why it's the top marked one. It's the old school Snake game on your phones and everything like. This is that one in first person, but the snake is chasing you, and you gotta find apples to try and feed it and distract it so you don't get eaten by, the snake, which was actually really really fucking good concept wise. Where you're like, damn, this is scarier than it fucking sounds because it's in first person, so you're just constantly getting chased by something, and you're like, fuck, I gotta move for a 48-hour game, obviously. What's another one? That was really really fun. Streamer Screamer is really fun. So, those Slender Man type games and everything like that. So it starts out with you looking at the screen and the streamer is on there, and then it kind of zooms out and you're the Slender Man, and you gotta try and find the streamer and scare him, but you don't want to kill him straight away because you gotta help him get views and everything like that and get subs. So you want to have him be scared, but you don't want to kill him because then you fail the mission. which
What
was
the
a
fuck?
which was a really fun one, and you have him like talking about it and everything. Another fun one was Walkies, which is another dog themed one where it starts out with you're a dog, you're playing as a dog on a leash, and your boss is strong, and you're trying to within the leash's range, you're trying to find bones, and then if you hit a certain amount of bones, you can suddenly like you go berserk mode and you go full power, and the owner loses control, and you're just dragging the owner along and trying to for a certain time trying to grab as many bones as you can before the owner uh, reins you in again, which was a really fun concept as well. Yeah, there's a bunch of fun ones there that you can just like play for free on Twitch. No, on
Good
itch.io.
shit.
It's yeah. Ragdolph was also it's a fun idea, but it's kind of a one trick pony. It's um somewhat parkour, but you start out as a Scottish guy trying to play golf, but then when you hit the golf ball, it's actually the guy that moves, and so you're trying to get the guy through the hole in one and everything like that. So that was a bit of fun, but it's limited. And there's which one? Oh, Descriptionary was that's kind of fun as well. It's kind of like a Scriblio, and I'm assuming everybody or Pictionary kind of thingy, but it starts out with hey, you draw a rectangle here and a rectangle there, and you're actually being told what to draw in parts, and then you try to guess what you have drawn by the descriptions, which was a really fun one that has the potential to kind of they need to work it out a bit, and it could be a fun an actual fun game on Steam to play every now and then. But I would say out of all of those, I kind of Princess Paladin was a really fun one that I kind of really want to have a full game for it So there's a bunch of them that have already been announced to get full full Steam releases. Eventually, I think probably 2024 for some of them. I think
because they'll actually have to make like an actual
Yeah.
full game from them.
I think there's making the game is getting a full release, which is pretty much you start out as a you have a super easy parkour where it's just like, oh, hey, jump over this one spike in this level, and then get to the flag like Mario style, and it's like, oh yeah, you made it, and it's like, oh well, feedback the level was too easy, so now you have to script in to make it to make the game harder, and then the game just constantly keeps asking you to make it harder, and once it's hard enough, you kind of publish your level to the game, and that was a really fun idea, and it's kind of fun that they're being able to publish it because it's a really fun idea to just like, oh hey, here's a really easy level, progressively make it harder and harder until it's hard enough, and then you can publish it, and then I believe the idea is that then you can actually go and play those levels as well from other creators, which
So
is
basically, it's Mario Maker.
yeah, it's Mario Maker,
Yeah.
but you're actively being told to like, oh yeah, no, it's still too easy, It's a really fun concept, which is it was a I highly suggest watching the video because there's some fun ideas in there, and it's always like the game jam, the big one like this from a Game Maker's Toolkit is really fun because since it is themed, you kind of get creative visions of it. Like, oh yeah, somebody just it's the obvious one is there's an obvious one, but that was really fun where you have a platformer, and the first level you play as the character, and then suddenly in the second level you play the spikes, and then in the third level you play the door, and then so you're trying to accomplish it, but you're
Fuck.
while trying to figure out what you are, stuff like that. So it's like, oh yeah, it's a fun little take on it, take it for what it's worth. It's a free game. Have fun with it. Play it for 10 minutes. You didn't pay anything. The only thing you paid for was the download. Even that, because a lot of it is done through Unity, so you don't even need to download anything. So that's had fun so far. Probably gonna try a couple more over the weekend, but
Nice.
it's always fun to go through the game jam ones at least once
Yeah.
a year. That's oh, and I finished Ragnarok. Not Ragnarok, just the regular God of War, which
Yeah.
highly hinted towards Ragnarok. Surprisingly, who could have guessed that the next one was going to be called Ragnarok? Overall, I enjoyed it. I think I will definitely play the next one. I think the only thing that kind of hurt my expectations is because I did play the old games, and I think if I didn't play the old games, I would have enjoyed it a bit more because I wasn't just waiting for more action and just would
Yeah.
have experienced it fresh where it's versus my brain going, well, it's God of War, so where's the war part?
Yeah, you went
Even though
into
the
it
combat
with
was fun.
yeah, you would have enjoyed it more if you didn't go into it with expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
Like completely
But
blind, you would have enjoyed it more. Yeah, I
yeah,
get that.
but overall, really good. I still gotta go back and kill some of the Valkyries and everything. I might do that in New Game Plus or something like that. Which eventually I'll probably not do it because I think in a couple of days, Remnant from the Ashes 2 launches, which is probably the one I'll be over uh, probably during the week, and I might pick up the 70 thingy one and get some early access. Not buying it for that reason, but it's always useful. So I won't have time to go through New Game Plus, so but it's, yeah, I really enjoyed it. The story was good. Kind of ended, well, not sooner than I expected, but by the time I got to Jotunheim, I was still expecting some epic combat or something to happen, and it's just like, oh no, this is the ending. I was like, okay, it's a good ending. I'm not complaining, but I thought there was like still a big thing coming. I just, I know this is goodbye. Oh, all right, fair enough. It's overall, yeah, some nitpicks, but really enjoyed my time with it.
That's good.
Just like Koshi said last week, that they have fixed some of those complaints in the next one. So for the next one, I just want more combat. I don't mind the puzzles because I enjoyed the puzzles, but it shouldn't be like 50-50. It is called God of War, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got for this week. Oh, and it seems that Oppenheimer is really good. But I've only got that's going off of one review. So take it for what it's worth.
I do want to see that. I don't
I've se-
I don't know when it comes out here, but
Yeah.
or if it's already
I've
out.
seen
I'm
a
not
few
sure.
reviews on it, and it's been getting pretty good reviews so far.
But...
It's from what I'm it's Robert Downey Jr. God damn it, Gillian Murphy. I always want to call him Colin Murphy for some reason. Gillian Murphy and everybody at like at their end, and for the most part, Christopher Nolan at his best. So you know,
Cool.
the only thing the last hour is it's not so much a critique, but it's a bit like too much explaining. But they're trying to wrap up the entire thing, and if they were to go in detail, it would be. I think Jeremy John said this at least because that's the only review I've seen so far. It would be it would be a 5 hour movie, so they kind of had to cut that down. But that's the only nitpick I've heard so far, going off of that one review that I seen.
Okay, but
I'm definitely interested.
the real question is, does he set off a real nuke?
They did do it with the nuke is actually, for the most part, practical effects. They tried to do, he said quote unquote zero effects, but zero CGI, which isn't entirely true, and they never truly meant it like that. But you know, that's the big headline where they
Yeah.
added CGI to actual practical effects. So the
Yeah, I
nuke
figured that's how they would do
is
it.
practical effects, and then they added like some layers and some art over it as well to do a lot of the stuff, which is another reason why I kind of want to see it in theaters because I always go on with too much CGI and I want more practical effects. So I feel like, well, now I need to put my money where my mouth is and actually support movies that do
True.
what I want.
True.
So you know, so I'll probably go depending on when it airs here. I'll probably go see it over a weekend or so. Oh, actually, let me see. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good about it, and the fact that it's actually about the Oppenheimer himself and not so much the nuke, because that could easily overshadow it. You know,
I mean,
release date.
I imagine the nuke plays at least some sort of a role in it, though.
Yeah, but it's not like it's from what Jeremy John said at least. Like when the nuke goes off, yeah, they show you the nice shiny stuff and everything, but it's more about the reaction of Oppenheimer when the nuke
Yeah.
goes off versus, well, the nuke happened, now what? You know, kind of thing.
I am become death.
Yeah, exactly. July 19th, so let's see. Yeah. Denmark as well, I'm assuming. Yeah. Thank you for not making this alphabetical. Well,
Are you
as far
planning
as
to
I can
say?
see.
Are you planning to say it, Koshi?
Yeah. I also plan to see Barbie.
Ah, nice. Denmark isn't listed in the release date, so I guess it's never
It'll
coming out there.
it'll be
But
here
everything
somewhere.
is, but Sweden is the 21st and Belgium is the 19th, so I'm probably somewhere this weekend.
What? I know this is gonna sound stupid, but what the fuck is the Barbie movie gonna be about?
It's well, one, it's a comedy,
Right.
but two,
What?
it's I know I didn't think who knew, but two,
Uh,
it's a how do I explain this? But like
Is it a rom com basically?
no, it's
it's a
trying.
dystopian comedy.
I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it, and the words aren't coming to me. So I'll say this: it's about a girl who lives her best life. She's top notch, and then when she leaves, because she finds out there's something better out there, and A, she kind of doesn't want to believe it, but B, she kind of does, because if it is better out there, she wants to be in on it. And when she gets out there, and there being the real world, she finds out she's a joke. But
Okay.
it's not like,
So it's
an
kind of like
extension,
Barbie is based off of her, but
but it's not
and
like
then
an existential crisis or anything. It's a comedy.
yeah.
And think of like Elf, or
Mhm.
the original Lego movie, or it's like that.
Yeah,
It makes fun of itself, but at the same time
but it
it
had some
has
heart.
exactly. And I've seen some reviews on it, and it's actually pretty good.
It's a
And I
talented
kind of want to
actor.
see it.
So
I kind of want to check it out. And plus I
I think
heard that Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling uh, excel in the movie very well.
I feel like they would have
Those two,
good
when
good
you,
chemistry
yeah,
because they kind of have goofy. They're both
yeah,
a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
goofy. So I think
Like
for a comedy, this would be perfect.
yeah, it's like when I heard that those were going to be the two leading names, I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That's
Yeah.
at least it'll feel quite natural on screen because those two definitely do seem like they would get along.
Yeah, and they both have comedic, like not proper comedians, but they have for actors they have comedy chops. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, which I
I
feel
they
think
know
like,
how to sell a joke.
which I feel like
Mm.
Ryan Gosling really doesn't quite get to use. I feel like he's not really cast in those type of roles for the most part.
Every now and then he did it, and he did a really good job in Nice Guys, where he kind of it's more in his interviews and everything where he's kind of a
Right?
bit
Yeah.
goofy. But there's some, but you are right. Not when you think of his big movies, you don't think of the where he's kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
the comedian.
Yeah.
I,
His bigger roles definitely are like the more serious ones.
yeah, I think I'll probably end up watching it, but it's not something I'm gonna go like, oh, let me go through the theater if it's on Netflix or Prime or something, or even if it's like getting rave reviews and it comes out on iTunes or something, I might rent it or something like that. But I'm not like, oh my god, I gotta go out and see it because there's already a bunch of movies that I want to see more, and
Yeah, I
this
want to
isn't
see it, but
really.
I'm gonna wait for it to stream before I go watch it. Same with
Yeah.
Indiana Jones and
Oh, I mean, no.
uh, Oppenheimer. I feel is gonna be the same way, because I'm not gonna see that in the theater.
Yeah,
But
I
I
feel
feel like
like
that's a movie that I really want to sit down at home and just like
Yeah, but I feel like
jump in.
the visual effects are kind of
Yeah.
be worth watching it in the movie theater for.
Yeah,
Where
but
it's
I mean,
it's the
it's
quote
gonna be
unquote
one
experience.
special effect, really. I mean, the whole movie is about.
No,
No, that'd be
because
subtle because they do tests of
yeah.
like leading up to it.
No, and
Yeah,
there's and they how they do it is Oppenheimer is thinking about stuff, and then they have a visual representation. Like when he's thinking of splitting atoms and everything like that, they have a visual representation of that stuff. So you're getting those beautiful little things as well.
yeah,
But I
but
get your point, though. I get your point.
I mean, how many minutes of that of the screen time is that really going to
I
be?
just
Really,
I
when you
just
sit down to
mean
watch it, you're going to be watching Oppenheimer and the
yeah.
the acting
For
and
me,
the
the cinematography is the big part where it's not just the practical effects and the effects. It's the cinematography, how it's lit and everything. Because Christopher Nolan, that's my favorite part about him. Like he knows how to frame a shot, and he always brings on amazing cinematographer. So it's like match made in heaven, where you have a really visual, sometimes to its detriment, really visual uh, um, director, which is also why I like Ridley Scott. But the only downside, with a great cinematographer, the only downside with sometimes with Nolan and people like Ridley Scott is where it's all about the visual and kind of the story gets left out, because that was somewhat the case with Tenant. Which have you seen that, Koshi, or not?
I did not.
Okay, well then we go.
I think
No reason to go on to that.
he wanted to watch it with us. I believe.
I
I
was
didn't
gonna
want.
watch it. I was gonna watch it last week, but I wasn't sure if I was gonna be in the mood for it at the time. And then
Mm, mm,
Funky suggested I should watch Tetris instead, which I wanted to watch, and I completely forgot.
mm.
So
Well,
I
you
didn't get to
still
watch
should
that
watch it.
either.
Yeah.
but I might watch it. I'm probably gonna watch at least one of them this week for sure.
Yeah.
That said, I forgot what I was gonna say. Fuck.
Hmm.
Something one of you
No,
guys said something that triggered something in me.
yeah,
Not
but
triggered
for
like
me,
bad, but I mean
no, no,
like
no, no, no. Yeah, for
something I
me, I
wanted to
think we
say.
were talking about watching it in the theater or the cinema.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
Okay, because
It was
I
something
feel
when you were
like
talking about Christopher Nolan. Something you said
oh,
that made me think of something.
his work with cinematographers or very visual or
Oh,
that
Ridley
is
Scott.
something.
That's what it
Yeah.
was. You gave Ridley Scott as an example. Has anyone checked out the trailer for Napoleon yet?
Yes.
No.
What'd you think?
I mean, amazing. But it's like I think I don't know if I said I know I said it last week. I just don't know if I said it on the podcast. So I'll do a quick quote unquote recap. But it's Joaquin Phoenix, one of my favorite actors. It's Ridley Scott, one of my favorite directors. It's Napoleon, probably favorite is the favorite as in most interested historical character. So it's like yes, everything yes. Give me more, please. Make a fucking 20 episode show out of it. I don't give a fuck if those people are working together. I'm all in, and it looked amazing.
What about you, Gannon? Are you all in?
What?
All right, moving on.
Napoleon.
I hadn't seen the trailer or anything, so I don't know.
All right, well,
Don't know anything about it.
Do you
recommend
know who
watching the
Napoleon,
trailer.
Huh? What?
or do you know who he was?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
dynamite.
Yeah,
That's the movie. Did I watch the wrong trailer?
I think
Isn't there a dance scene in the trailer? But...
yeah.
no,
No,
but yeah,
you got
no.
the right one. You got the right one.
I just hope, and this one definitely seems to be the case. I kind of just want Ridley Scott to start making serious movies again and taking his movies a bit more serious again, where he isn't just like don't give him the thing where he's just able to do whatever he wants, kind of like the Aliens and probably Gladiator 2. Why that one's happening, I still have no clue. But whatever. But just like, yeah, here's the story. Do what you do best, and stick to the script. Don't mess with it.
Yeah, I'm afraid. I don't know if he's got any more good movies in him. I feel like he's pretty much coming to the end of his career. I hate to say it,
Yeah, still,
but I mean, I could be surprised. Who knows?
yeah, and I, it's a shame to say because they were both talented directors, but I feel like when Tony Scott died, Ridley Scott, I mean, apart from obviously the tragedy of losing his brother and everything like that, but I feel like they were really working together as like going over scripts and exchanging ideas. What you do with your family and your friends and everything like that when you're working on stuff. And I feel like when Tony Scott died, that part of him kind of got less, and suddenly he kind of lost a trusted voice artistically. Of course, I'm just guessing here, but it's kind of around the same period where he started, like, his movies kind of started taking a dip. Still, if visually Ridley Scott is just when he's on point visually, he's my favorite. But it's just everything else is just kind of like the script and everything is like even with the Robin Hood one, which I mean, good movie, but the script is kind of like, and I know Russell Crowe got upset with it, but it is like the oldest Robin Hood that has ever been filmed is playing the youngest one. Where it's just like, yeah, no, like I like where they went with the story as a origin story, but yeah, it it I love Russell Crowe, but that the fact that it's the origin story just kind of didn't really work, even though visually everything was absolutely stunning. So I'm hoping Napoleon is at least on par with Robin Hood, where it's a good movie if you don't mind a couple of issues, but and I'm expecting it. I guess I have my blindfolders on like Goshi for Starfield.
Oh,
Just like
I don't have
no,
them
no,
on,
no, no,
baby.
no,
I
no.
know it's gonna rock.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. No, no, there's no way it could be possibly bad. I'm kind of going into that knowing it's because it has everybody I like, but I'm optimistic about it, and I'm hoping he kind of goes into a somewhat of a good Renaissance era before he says goodbye. Is what I'm hoping, but we'll wait and see.
See that, Gannon? I wasn't the one who brought up Starfield this week.
You mentioned it
But
earlier.
since we're here, it's gonna rock.
All of this just works.
Fucking hell.
16
I
times
hope,
the detail, baby.
I hope for your sake it's everything that they, or at least good enough that I'm expecting some launch troubles, but I'm hoping that it's at least, I guess, Skyrim level, even though that wasn't really the best launch either. But they got a lot out of it after a while, so I'm hoping, if it's at least on that level, I'm sure you'll be happy.
It all
I just,
comes down to the mods.
and it's just
It really does.
it's Bethesda doesn't really have the best track record over the years, and Xbox doesn't either. Though they're. So that's why I'm more cautious about it, because they're saying the right stuff, but at the same time, Bethesda also released 76 and Fallout 4 and Fallout 4 was still somewhat function, but by that time it was engine time, and Xbox is saying the right thing, and to a certain extent, giving them more time doing the right thing, but they also, see how they treat their big IP, and it doesn't really instill confidence to me at least.
You want to hear something funky?
Yes.
That is his name.
And if I'm being real here, I kind of expect the game Starfield. I expect the game to be kind of
Meh.
yeah.
But see, I know I know why you're excited for it, and you're not excited. Well, you might be excited for the story and everything like that, but like you said, you're way more excited for what modders can do
I'm excited.
with
Yeah,
the sandbox that they're getting versus what
as a
Bethesda is actually
platform.
doing with it.
It's a
Yeah,
new
exactly.
platform that we can
Pretty
play
much.
around with. Yeah.
That's why you're hyped for it. So that's I sometimes poke a little fun at it, but I'm more
But
thinking of the actual release. I think down the line it will be a good game and everything like that. I just don't think it will be on launch.
like I look at the game and I look at all the interviews, all the press, all the media that has been dropped, and I see all these awesome features that they're putting in the game. They're basically making like 3 different games in one, if you will. Combat game, a shooting game. I'm sorry, a ship
Combat
game,
shooting game, yeah.
a ship combat game, and a building game
Mm,
or RPG.
yeah.
And I look at it and I'm like, I'm seeing all these different features, and you can call them gimmicks or you can call them mechanics, whatever side of the fence you're on. And it all looks good, but when they put it all together, it feels like there's something missing. And what feels like is missing is the story. Something that makes me want to go into this world. So when I go into this world, me personally, and I know for a lot of other people out there, I'm going to enjoy the ship combat. I'm going to enjoy the combat on foot. I'm going to enjoy the building, the shipbuilding, the resource management. I'm going to enjoy the RPG aspects of it. But really, there's nothing in the game besides those mechanics. It's all mechanic based. There's nothing in the game that says, holy shit, I need to experience the story. I need to know what happens next. I need to see where this leads. This
Yeah.
isn't a Mass Effect where it's
They're
story
not
first and
obsidian.
everything second. This is
Or-
everything first and story maybe. So
Maybe.
so when I look at that, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play the game and I'm gonna play it vanilla, and I know that whether it works or it's janky, whatever, I'm basically gonna be waiting for the mods.
Yeah.
Because the mods are what's gonna take it 10 years from now and keep making the game relevant.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they work so hard on the technical aspects of the game.
You're just
And I could be
reading
wrong
the.
on this. I could be wrong on this, but I feel like they work so hard on the technical aspects of the game and getting all these different systems to work together that somewhere they kind of forgot a story.
Would I be right in that you're kind of treating vanilla more as a long tech demo
Yeah,
versus
Kind of,
versus
you'd be
a
100%.
actual
To me, the release is going to be a beta.
Yeah.
It's going to be a beta, and it's going to be like, or on Steam, it's early access because I'm going to play it. I'm going to have fun. But really, I'm going to be checking Nexus mods every day for when the next awesome mod comes out. I mean, Christ, I'm playing, to give you an example, I'm playing the Phantom Pain right now. Metal Gear Solid, for those who don't know the subtitle. And I'm going through and I'm re-experiencing the game, and I feel like it's one of the best games I've ever played in my life. And as I said this last week too, I rarely ever replay a game. So for me to go through a whole game and try to 100% it again, that's saying something.
Yeah.
Now that
You're a
said,
crazy person. Yeah.
I am. That said, I have mods in the game this time around. So I'm not trying to, S plus every single mission. I did that already. I've got all that out. You can go to my Steam page and you can see it. I've already S plussed everything. I ran it like a professional, like a true Chad, and I have basically conquered the game. So now I'm going back and I'm playing with mods. And one of the mods alone adds like 60 plus new side ops for me to do.
Oh dang.
And that's the shit I'm waiting for. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of reinstalling Red Dead because I missed that world and I want to go back in there and play that world, but not the story. Not the story, but I'll continue at the end where it's all
Such a
free
shame
roam.
what they did with the online part.
Yeah,
That
I
had
know.
So much
It
potential.
sucks. It sucks. It pisses me off. But that said, there's two big mods out for Red Dead right now. One of them redid the entire bounty system, and it adds all the online stuff into the single player of the game. So now I have like 150 new bounties that I can do in the game. A second mod, and it's fully in depth too, because that first mod with the bounties, I can get experience when I'm doing it. I can get better bounties that give me better money. They get more
When I first
elaborate.
played.
Like they don't just randomly pop up on a map. Well, some of them do, but they can get more elaborate.
Yeah.
Second mod, they added a whole bunch of new hideouts for bandits. And I think I mentioned this one last week too.
Yeah, that the
Or a
bandits
week
go out
before.
and they can take over places if you don't stop
Yeah,
them.
they can take over. They can take over places, and you have to go and fight to get those places back, like to save the citizens, if you will. And you can also turn on zombie mode, where you'll have like a spawn somewhere in the map where a zombie will spawn, and slowly but surely they will start attacking and taking over and creating more zombies and taking over the map. And you got to get over. You got to find out where it's happening, get over there, and put a stop to it. Like that shit is so super fun, and that's what's going to make Starfield like game of the decade because of shit like that. And this game, Starfield, Phantom Pain and Red Dead, the two examples I gave, those aren't even easy moddable games. Those are hard to mod. Yet people were able to pull it off. And here, Starfield is a game made specifically in mind for people to mod. So imagine the possibilities with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think down the line, I think, yeah, I'm not expecting much from the story because ever since Todd Howard has been taking over the story, has
And
been
God,
kind of,
and Todd we trust.
yeah, but story wise, I don't. Like, he can build an incredible world, but story wise, he has yet to do anything
Well, I
memorable.
don't think he writes a story, does he?
I mean, he decides what gets in and what gets cut.
Well, I mean, he does, but I mean, the overall story
I
and what's
think, I
presented
think,
to him,
I think,
isn't that his head writers and stuff? Or I don't know.
yeah, but I'm assuming he's the creative vision of at least Elder Scrolls Fallout. I'm not sure, but Elder Scrolls, so it's kind of, yeah, sure he has writers, but he kind of has the idea, the main story beats. I'm assuming not just from him, but he helps with those for a large. Same with a director, you know. They help with the story, even though they're not technically writers. But you know, it's their vision, and the writers adjust to said vision. That's kind of what I mean. And within that norm, I feel like his stories haven't been, at least the quote unquote main stories for his games haven't been memorable. I wouldn't go as far as to say they've been bad, but they've just been kind of like, yeah, all right. I went through that. I, I guess I had fun, you know, but can I go and explore this entire cool new world here and go do these dungeons? That's more his strength, and he's great at
Yeah.
it. So no shade at that, but I think if you gave him here make another Witcher, obviously that's a high bar, but something of that caliber writing wise, or even lower, something that seems like a dig when I say lower, but I'll take that back. But something Obsidian ish, where since they have made games using the engine and everything like that, or their Outer Worlds, like, even though it was shorter, the story in Outer Worlds was a lot better than I feel like anything Todd Howard did
Yeah,
under him.
100%.
So
I
that's where I'm.
I'm not trying to protect God, Todd. I keep saying God. I'm not trying
Yeah,
to protect Todd because he doesn't need my protection. He's already, top tier, if you will.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I feel like those are two different things, and that's kind of an
Yeah,
unfair
but he's
comparison.
he's kind of like, we talk about this. He's kind of like J.J. Abrams. He's incredible at certain times, but please fucking keep him away from the writing room. That's kind of how I feel about Todd Howard. Where, yeah, no, he's great, but please have somebody in charge of the actual fucking story and write something good. And
Well,
then have it go through him and him delivering it. Great, top shelf. But that's kind of where I'm at with Todd Howard. Like, he's
yeah, but
definitely
see,
got his skills.
that's my problem. Is he's not the writer. He may come up with the basic story. Okay, Fallout 4, your child is taken away from you, and you got to go find him. Work with that. And and it's up to the writers to, like, flesh that idea out and make it work. But I mean, when you really break it down to every story ever known to man, Star Wars, Witcher, like you said, or Alien, or, I mean, when you can really break all those down and it's all the same thing. You look at Alien, you go and you find something that unknown
Yeah,
and it attacks your crew. Now you need to survive. Make that work. Figure it out how to make that work and scary. I mean,
but if you see what was, this is more Fallout 4, not so much, but if you see what side content and stories that the modders re-added that was in the script, but then was just cut out because time restraints for the most part. And like I said, they have more time now, so maybe that will have a positive effect on the story. But given the proof is in the pudding, I feel like he's willing to cut out way more parts of the story than are needed. So you just kind of, yeah, you get the gist of it, and you kind of lose that finesse, the little things that make this the story good, and like the little emotional things here and there where it's not about the combat or the big action scene, where it's like you actually give it some time to kind of marinate and have some good dialogue and character build. That kind of stuff is just like, yeah, no, no, fuck it, let's go on with the story and go explore this cool new dungeon. That's kind of his weakness, where he's like J.J. Abrams, more focused on getting to the next action scene. And obviously, with him, it's not the action scene; it's the cinematic exploring the world part of it and everything like that. Versus and the actual, because lore wise for the entire world, he's pretty good in general. What he's done with it is just
Yeah,
the
the lore is
characters
great.
is the character building of the actual main story and everything. You're just like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, characters fall a bit flat,
Yeah.
and but the world building itself is
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's his strength. So
But that's
I'm
but that's
I'm
why
definitely
that's why it's become so good as a like a modest platform. Is because like
yeah
the lore of it is so in depth that it's worth like investing your
yeah
time into creating something in that world
yeah.
for
And I was
the
super
modders and things.
excited for an Elder Scroll tabletop for the longest time. I wanted one, and we've got one in it, and it's a good one. So they've really built a really interesting fantasy world to even beyond the games just play
Mhm.
around in and create your own stories. It's just main story wise, that's not his
Yeah, that's true.
strength. That's his weakness. But he has a lot of good strengths as well. So it balances out. I just RPGs are still about the story, and I kind of feel like eh, wish he would spend a little bit more time on that versus
I
some
agree,
other
but at
things.
the same
But
time, it's like because of that weakness, and because I know that the story's going to be weak, I don't go into those games for the story as much as I go into them for the open world. Because
yeah,
as far as
I think it's more because I was
I,
a Fallout fan,
it's like
and Bethesda kind of ruined them.
it's like as far as open world games go, I think Bethesda do pretty goddamn well with them, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's not because they fill it with things. It's that there's a decent amount of visual storytelling
Yeah.
around the map that is nice to like find and stumble across. But there's also like it's just it's that sense of adventure.
Mm.
You
That's
are
what they're
a
no, no, yeah, that is what they're great at.
you are the lone survivor or whatever, and you just walk around this area that this world, and you stumble across things that are happening, and it just feels like that's what I'm going into it expecting. I'm not
Yeah.
expecting it for like to wrap me up
It
and
feels
engross
it
me in
feels to a
some.
certain extent, yeah.
Yeah, like
It
I'm not
feels
going
very
in with a
true.
grand story that's going to wrap me up and keep me interested in that. It's just like the story's there if I feel like doing it on the side, but for the most part, I'm wandering around with my sword and shield. I'm stumbling across
Yeah.
a monster lair. I'm taking it out. I feel like I'm doing these heroic things, or being a dickhead if you feel like doing
Yeah.
that, or just being a total bastard and going around murdering everybody.
It's,
But like
let's
that
see.
freedom, that sense of like I am this character I created, and I can do whatever the hell I want. That's what I enjoy from those type of games. And I'm hoping the same is for Starfield. I hope I can go into that game. I'm not looking for like a really in-depth story. I just want something where I can just do the same shit that I've been doing in Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls games.
Yeah, I just feel like this is more. I definitely agree with you. But it's a shame when I've played Skyrim. I've mostly played it on my PlayStation, but even here it's 38 hours, which isn't a whole lot, but it is what it is. I think maybe have I ever played Special Edition? No, never even installed it, I think. Uh, but in all of those hours, let's say, I think in total, let's say I'm around 250 hours, playing more on the console back then, because my PC wasn't that great. But I've never had finished the main story and never really felt the urge for it, which because it was just so eh, which is kind of a shame for a big game like that. You want to at least people to be invested in it. And yeah, maybe it's you do it one time and boom, it's over, and then you go, exploring all the caves and whatever. But you want at least that first time you want people to have a fun time and explore the world, and have a really good main story that sets the theme for this entire playground that you're gonna be playing in, and why this is happening and everything. And
That being said, though, the story through Oblivion was actually better than expected. Skyrim, it was a bit weak.
yeah,
But Oblivion had a pretty decent story with a few twists and turns, and then you also got the expansions for Oblivion, which were even better story wise.
yeah, Oblivion was, I mean,
Like
wasn't bad. I
Shivering
think it was
Isles or
still a
whatever it
step
was
back. Yeah,
with
I think
Sheogorath.
it was still a step back from Morrowind, but Morrowind is
I
also
didn't.
one of my.
Yeah, I didn't play. I think I've played like 30 minutes of Morrowind. That was like before I got into the
Morrowind
series.
was one of my favorite RPGs. So it also had a high bar to
Mhm.
climb, and it didn't quite succeed it, but it was definitely. I'm gonna sound mean and say adequate, but this is me comparing one of my favorite RPGs versus a game I just enjoyed. So that's why I'm being a bit more harsh. But it definitely was a good game and everything like that. I just like the story, and the Morrowind story was more my vibe as well. So and
Fair enough.
but yeah, I don't know. I hope it's good, and that extra time does the story good as well, because I feel like, especially in open worlds, your main story should be more like establishing the lore of the world and
Yeah.
what you're experiencing, and different factions, and how this works, how that works. Some intrigue here, some cool characters you get attached to, where it's like, oh, cool, I'm gonna, let's say you get a really cool companion or something like that, which is technically a side thingy, but oh, cool, that one's coming along. Oh, whenever I'm playing this, I'm definitely going all the way back there, grabbing that companion. So you get invested in it. That's what the main story should do, and keep you intrigued and keep you moving forward. And I think it's one of the strengths for Skyrim, but also one of its weaknesses, at least story wise, is that all you really wanted to do was go explore, and you didn't really care for the story, which is both a great thing for content wise, but it doesn't make you it doesn't help make you invested in the world and in the story when you don't really care about the main story.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's a bit of a mix with both of them, and if Starfield nails it, you'll get a decent story that introduces the world to you, so especially since it's an OIP, introduces the story to you. What is this? Here's different fractions. Here's how they work. Here's an asshole. Here's an awesome character. Boom, you're invested. Now modders have fun and expand upon it, versus just like, hey, like we say, here's a puddle, go fill it.
Mhm.
It's definitely a balance, and it's definitely a hard one to do as well. But that's why I'm hoping it turns out good for people, especially people on consoles, since they won't really. Maybe they will have mods. I don't know. They're still
It
doing that.
depends. It depends
Are
because
they still
obviously
doing that thing with Bethesda?
the paid thing. I don't know if they're still doing that
Oh,
because they had the
yeah, I don't
Bethesda
know.
Creator Club, which was
Yeah,
and I can't remember if they ever really got that ball moving because there was a lot of pushback due to the fact that it was paid mods basically.
yeah. I think you could have mods on it, but you were also limited to a
Yeah.
certain amount of gigs. I don't remember if it was for Skyrim or for Fallout, but I think even if like your PlayStation had that was the only game installed on it, and you still had like 60 gigs available, you could only go to a max of 4 gigs or something like
I
that.
think that was less to do with your storage space and more about what the system and the game itself running on it could actually handle, like running
Oh,
simultaneously.
it's definitely a part of it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, hey, fuck it, run it all. If it runs, same with PC, run it all. If it runs like shit, that's your fucking fault.
True, but I feel like
Figure it
there's
out.
also like it's a lot more difficult to troubleshoot and fix if you've crashed it through to too much modding, as opposed to on a PC where you can just kind of instantly sort it out.
Yeah, that's fair. I never really looked into it on consoles, so I can't speak too much because by the time that came out, I already had a decent PC again, so can't speak to that part. And in general, I don't want to play those games on console.
No, I played Fallout 3 and Skyrim on and Oblivion, obviously, but that was like ages ago.
Yeah.
Like I played those on the
Yeah.
console, but I went back and replayed Oblivion on the PC, and then replayed Skyrim on the PC, and I modded the shit out of them. So, like,
Yeah.
I played because at the time I don't think I had a PC that was. It was like basically the same situation you use. My PC just wasn't set up for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I was still in school, so I didn't really have
Yeah.
like, let me spend a shit ton
Yeah,
of money
so,
that
like,
I don't have.
I played through just to experience them as they were meant to be experienced, and then went back later on, in later years, to play them how I wanted to play them. Modded the hell out of, and play them for 30 minutes, watch the game crash, and then leave it for a few months.
Yeah, exactly. I remember, I don't know where it is, but I installed some, I think it was through Nexus or something like that, some goofy mods through there, but with Fallout 4 within my Steam. And now it's been years as well, but whenever I try to play Fallout again, some of those were still like is somewhere installed, or it still had effects on my game where it just like would run like shit and everything like that. And it's like, oh well, we changed this and this save file and all that. And so it's like every time I try to play it with at least like basic mods of just like, hey, make this run better, or some bit more, where you can tweak the XP you gain and everything like that.
Yeah,
And it's just like, yeah, no, this is just it's fucked.
it's
And I'm
borked.
just like, yeah, no, fuck it. I don't really need to play this again. I don't even know why I installed it to begin with. And then I uninstall it again and just, oh well, that was 2 hours of my life. Oh, I guess I was entertained to a certain extent.
All right. Anybody got anything final words to say?
Go watch Oppenheimer.
Koshi?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I think we wrap it up there then. We've exhausted our topics for this week. Thanks for listening, everyone. Hope you had a good time with us. Hopefully Zion is back from the dead next week.
And I see you next week, Seth.
Yeah, see you next week, Seth. All right, peace out, everyone. Bye.
Peace.